that Carl Jr. and Pac are gonna be looking to be the favorites of this match. But I'm glad to be surprised. We're heading into the pick and bans here, and Carl Jr. and Pac are gonna be starting it off with China, followed by France, and second pick for Team USAK is gonna be coming in a second here.
Yeah, China, not really surprised about that. I mean, it's the first track. It's the track that everyone knows. So it doesn't surprise me that it's the beginning. Now, I will say one thing that does surprise me a little bit is the fact that Brazil is the second pick, only because I just know like those styles of maps can be a little tricky for someone like Neil. Whereas Wizzy, he'll be able to do a lot more precision. So I feel like it's going to be a lot more leaned on to Wizzy in Brazil. Now, that being said, I don't want to discount anyone from being able to do any sort of damage on any track. So it's going to be really coming down to whether or not these players are trained for a 2v2 setting. Now, I know there's not really much of a difference if you're playing knockout, 2v2, rounds, cup mode, and stuff like that. But it really can, in my opinion, change the way how someone is going to approach the track. When you're doing knockout, you may want to play a little bit safer. You're not going to go 0.2, 0.1 from the world record. You might be 0.9 from the world record. Whereas teams, sometimes you just have to be focusing on X people to be ahead. If you're a 1v1 in the front, 1v1 in the back, and you just need a victory, you don't need to extend or anything like that. So that's the beauty of 2v2. It's one of the reasons why I personally love this game mode over all game modes, Tobal.
I mean, I feel like it's fair to say that, at least for me personally, I think 2v2 is just about the best mode in Trackmania. But maybe some people might disagree, and I totally get that. But I just think this is fantastic. And speaking of fantastic, how many bug slides do you think we're gonna see on China, and how is it gonna go?
I think we're going to see a few. I was peeking around in the streams before we started and watching Carl Jr. training the bug slide, and knowing that Carl Jr. and Pac and even Neil like to train a lot together, I wouldn't be surprised if they have some of the same strats going into this race. So, when you're in top of the world, you need to do all the top of the world strats. So it generally doesn't surprise me whatsoever. But it's going to be one of those moments where you got the bug slide strat down, but how many times you're going to use it is the real question. But all right, I know we briefly spoke about it, but we got to make a quick prediction. What do you think the match is going to be today?
Well, I mean, I'm hoping for Team USAK to at least grab one of the map points, make it interesting. But ultimately, I think it is absolutely not a wrong assessment to say that Pac and Carl Jr. are definitely going to be the favorites. So I'm going to go for the 3-1, but I would love to be proven wrong.
Yeah, nah, you know what? I'm gonna go upset. I'm gonna think USAK will beat PacB, and I think it's gonna go all the way to Game 5. And just like at the beginning, Pac makes the first. Carl Jr. makes the big mistake. It's Pac now that's chasing, and Neil fortunately makes a mistake there. So it'll be Wizzy versus Pac up in the front. There it is, the 1v1s I was speaking about earlier. Carl Jr. will be taking on Neil in the back. Pac will be taking on Wizzy, and Wizzy doing a great job staying up front right now. But it's going to come down to the identity, the turnarounds. How fast can Wizzy flick his arms around with the wheel? Come down to this very moment here, Wizzy, with a lot of exit speed, but he's wide on the left side, so he's got to be careful. His wheels can start to slide out on him. Still having those icy wheels. It's going to work out for him. And now it's coming down to Carl Jr. and Neil. If it's going to be a draw or going to be a victory, Neil stays up in front. That's going to be a victory starting off for USAK.
Yeah, I mean, this is PacB's map pick, so that early victory for Team USAK could be advantageous. However, you do have to consider that it is riding on the back of a big mistake from Carl Jr. in that bug slide first turn. We've talked about it already. It does save 0.3 or something along those lines. We see 3 people going for the bug slide here.
Everyone got it.
Team USAK coming out on top after it. Yeah, it saves around about 0.3, but it is a risk you're taking. If you mess it up, you could be finding yourself in 4th place position, just as Carl Jr. has done now. 2 rounds in a row. 4th place position for him. He's going to be having to play this one from the back. Wizzy and Neil, though, are looking like they could be doing some additional damage and building the lead as long as PacB is not able to keep the lead. But currently, he is in 1st place position. That turn does look a little bit cleaner from him here. We're entering into the 3rd, and Wizzy is on the attack right now, looking for the overtake. Neil with more speed might be able to overtake PacB going into the identity here, and then it just comes down to if he can keep that little tiny lead that he has. Both Team USAK could be just staying ahead of both of the PacB members here, though. Let's see that it's gonna come down to that line. It's so close. It's another victory for USAK.
Oh my God. Back at looking at the replay here as we saw the bug slide. PacB was the only one who didn't actually go for it, but still had so much good exit speed coming out of that, while Wizzy and Neil did a good job of that one. So yeah, it's very risky, this bug slide. Carl Jr. again, 3 for 3, making mistakes on that one, unfortunately. So he's going to be out of that one. Neil did not have the best exit in the bug slide. So it's going to be PacB versus Wizzy again, up in front. It is so scary to think that even though mistakes have happened in the beginning, Carl Jr. last round was able to close the gap with 0.1 between all 4 players. Wizzy with a mistake there, trying to recover from that one. Again, Neil and Carl Jr. are the ones battling back. They are actually going head-to-head in the back right now. So PacB is going to be up in front. This is going to be a very good round for PacB. They're going to need to turn this one around a little bit. It's only going to be a 1-point difference if we stay in this position, but it's still going to be able to set them up better for their own map pick here in China. Wizzy doing a good job staying ahead of Carl Jr., even though there was a lot of earlier mistakes. PacB is going to walk away with this one. Carl Jr. will follow suit into 3rd place, and that is going to slowly make the gap smaller between the teams.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it. Carl Jr. has gone 40 bug slide line on the start here on China every single round, and it's not gone well every single time. So, you know, when is the point to call it, even if you're the world's best player? Maybe
not now,
but maybe it's time to just keep on going for it until you get a race into the front. And well, that seems finally what Carl Jr. has done. And with a mistake from Wizzy clipping the outside here, falling all the way into 4th as well, it's going to be on Neil to try and defend the lead they have going on right now. But Carl Jr. is not going to make that easy as he overtakes Neil right now. So it's going to be looking like PacB if Neil can hold 2nd place, and that is unfortunate, but he is still ahead, even though just barely. So right now Neil is just fighting to keep this game in a drawing position, hoping for the 6-6 scoreline, maybe even hoping for a mistake, but I doubt that that is going to be happening. So yeah, Carl Jr. managing to finally get the round that he's been looking for since the start of this match. Grabs himself a 1st place with a 105.3. Neil is gonna get 2nd, and it is a drawn game for now.
Yeah, looking at this one, finally Carl Jr. just bashing his head against the wall, trying to get this bug slide down. He gets it down, and you could see how much of a difference it plays out when Carl Jr. gets it right. But coming back into the bug slide again, PacB only one opting not to do it, and look at the difference right there, already up into P3. Mistake coming out from Neil. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things where you are doing the bug slide. Sure, you're going to get the speed, but you gotta have that one wheel push you back down. Otherwise, you're going to flop around like a fish, and unfortunately for Neil, that's exactly what happened. So now, Carl Jr. will be taking on Wizzy up in the front. The 2 Cam 3 players, the only 2 that we actually get to see at production. Can we see what it looks like to be Carl Jr. for like 1 second with this camera? Yeah. Well, without the wheels, but yeah, that's what it looks like. This is the mayhem the 2 of them do. Yeah, this is more of a mutta kind of Wizzy camera, but unfortunately, Wizzy makes a mistake as we come flying around into the loops. Carl Jr. is still going to be holding up in front. PacB will be the one to follow, and that is going to be looking like an ace. The turnaround from PacB, they were able to keep very cool through the competition on this cold map, and just like that, playing from behind is now on track point.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like the specifically Carl Jr. a little bit shaky on that start here in China, but now he's hit it 2 times in a row. So maybe all he needed
Oh,
was a little bit of warm up. We're seeing the line come out again, both from Carl Jr. and Wizzy. Looking very good. Neil is going to be finding himself all the way in 4th place position, and it is once again on Wizzy to try and do something about it, but I doubt that it's going to be enough, because even if he gets 1st place, a draw is enough for PacB to close out this game. So this is really, well, and there he goes. He's decided to take the scenic route out of that ice slide, and that's going to promote PacB into 1st and 2nd place position. It is going to be another ace position for them to close out their 1st map pick. Team USAK is going to just have to say GG, go to the 2nd map, which is their map pick, and try to turn it around there. Yeah, though I will say, Team USAK did surprise me in those first 3 rounds. They were looking very, very solid. And so I have
okay, sure, we'll go that way.
I think it might not be an ace. Yep. All right.
Not an ace anymore.
It's still gonna be enough.
Man, that was one heck of a ending there. But yeah, checking out this replay here of Pac attempting to do the identity, showing us a new way of doing this little, I don't know. It was
you think
a very
it's gonna
weird
become the mainstream way to do it?
No. Not at all. That is the way I do it. That is the, oh, please, please, please don't die.
I will say, though, I mean, quick thinking from him to recover it and still get 3rd, but,
Yeah, I mean,
suboptimal.
it didn't matter. It really didn't matter anyway.
It didn't matter.
Unfortunately, it is what G-Geek likes to say a lot, an ace or bust. And I'm stealing that line. Thank you, G-Geek. But yeah, so we needed to see both the USAK up in front. So unfortunately, when you were saying that Wizzy was taking the scenic route, I think the scenic route was taking out Wizzy for dinner, unfortunately for him. So it didn't really matter at that point. Carl Jr. was still looking pretty good at that last part of the identity. So unless he just flew off and crashed somewhere, it wasn't going to make a difference. But speaking about taking someone out to dinner, a very romantic place to be going to. We're moving over to France, maybe a little bit of Paris, thanks to the Eiffel Tower in the background. But yeah, looking forward to this one. I actually generally like this track. I think it's a pretty cool. It's the track itself is very interesting with the really big jump to the dirt. It's kind of fun watching it. It feels like watching a plane land, and it's like what a lot of people in the world of flying say when you land softly is butter, and that's exactly what it feels like. But here we go into the first round of France.
Yeah, and I think it's not going to be a France match until I call it Paris on accident. That might happen. So watch out for that and get a counter going. It is Team USAK's map pick. Let's see if they can open up the first round very well here. That, as you said, that big jump into the dirt. You've hit a little bit of a soft spot for me with aviation, by the way. So I'm trying not to think about aviation, instead of think of Trackmania right now.
Butter.
It's going to be it's going to be unfortunate for Wizzy as he hits the outside of the dirt. Neil has to respawn, and it's looking like a great opener for PacB as they are ahead with quite a lead before the identity even started. So I think it's going to be a very easy 3 points for them to open up this match, which is of course very unfortunate for Team USAK, as this is their first map pick. Pac going for the less risky line here, and as long as there's no big mistakes through this identity, which I don't expect happening, it's going to be an ace. I think France is definitely one of those less volatile maps.
Yeah, we're going to check out what happened in the background in case you missed it. Neil, unfortunately, just goes for the jump. Tries to do the low jump, right, where you go from one side to the other to completely lower the air time, and unfortunately just smacks the wall on his landing. So that's going to be a big down point for USAK. Again, we're on their map picks, and they get 2 in a row at this point as the bottom seed of the match. So we'll see if they're going to be able to recover this one, as Wizzy is going to be the one up in front, and Neil looking to try to join as Carl Jr. and Pac. All 4 of them in the, shall I say, the pack. And into the butter part. My favorite part of the track is they go flying across. Will anyone touch the wall? No, everyone does a good job there. Neil with a really good line is going to be able to get some exit speed out of this one. Pack opting to just go straight for the jump. Everyone else does the crisscross, and it's working out pretty well for them as Carl Jr. and Neil are going to be the ones up in front. Wizzy fighting in P4, but close by. And it is still anyone's game at that point. As soon as I say that, Wizzy unfortunately tags the corner. Carl Jr. and Neil both tag the half pipe. So that's going to put Wizzy back into the fight. The problem is Pack just did a good job, and he stayed up in front that whole time. So it's going to be an ace again. Double ace for PacB.
I mean, the Grave PacB is currently digging on this map, is getting deeper and deeper. 6-0 is a very unfortunate scoreline to have on your first map pick, especially considering how well the first map pick went for them, even though they didn't win it. It's going to be a big uphill battle. You said it on last map, ace or bust. It's now time to bust out an ace for Team USAK here, but that's going to be a very, very hard task with Carl Jr. currently up in the lead. Wizzy and Neil both, though, still in contention to do something about it. And as I say that, Wizzy does pull ahead into first place with tons of speed. He's going to be using that speed and the extended platform there to try and build a little bit of, out of it. Pack is going to go ahead. It's going to be Wizzy clipping the outside of the turn, falling behind, has to respawn, and now it's turned from great to bad as Pack is in the lead. Neil, though, still in contention to try and overtake, at least to secure the draw with Carl Jr. overtaking into third place position. It means that Neil really, really wants to secure the draw, but no matter what the end result of this is, PacB is going to be on track point. Neil chooses to go for the safe line, at least, I guess. So, oh, never mind! Pack with a huge crash at the end. It's a draw for Team USAK. It's not optimal, but yeah, we're gonna take a look at that crash here in just a moment. Check that out. Yeah, very far away there. He jumps too low, clips his wheel, and it turns him around. Unfortunate, but still track point for PacB.
Yeah, and again, we are one track off, unfortunately. The Brazil scoreline, one track before Brazil. I will never get it. No one is going to give it to me. This is not fair. I want to say Brazil on Brazil, man. Just let it happen. But here we go. Moving on to potentially the last round, as PacB has been showing that they are very dominant in this match at the moment. But USAK and they're not looking, they may look down, but they're not out yet. Neil doing a good job taking on both PacB players. Wizzy right behind, ready for the strike at any moment. Any mistake that can happen will be an opportunity for Wizzy to get back into that fight. And unfortunately, the one person who makes a mistake was Neil, his teammate. That's not the one we wanted to see the mistake come from. But Pack, again, not opting to do the crisscross, so he slows down a tiny bit. Still enough to keep him up in front, as Carl Jr. is going to be leading the entire team right into the identity again. Everyone opting to go for the risky line. Carl Jr. makes a little bit of a mistake, and Wizzy with more speed going into this moment here. Carl Jr. completely out of this one. That's going to put Neil into P3. Carl Jr. will fall down, and that's going to be a victory for USAK. It's going to bring us back up from 8-3 now. Still, we are getting to the point where it will be an ace or bust.
Yeah, I mean, Team USAK does keep it alive, and that victory gives them a little bit more leeway for mistakes, but the leeway for mistakes, or rather the margin of error, is still basically nothing. Team USAK essentially has to get a few aces here if they still want to turn this map pick around for them, and right now is most likely the best time to start. Both of them finding themselves in a lead after that huge jump there, and that means they might just be able to do it with great driving, but we've still got a majority of the map coming up, and we've seen mistakes, especially in this part of the map, coming up right now. Neil and Wizzy still up in the lead. Pack and Carl Jr., though, relentless and still right on their tails, and that is not what you want to see. It's Neil with a big mistake there on the landing. Both Carl Jr. and Pack pull ahead of Wizzy, and Wizzy now has to finish first place to try and save this round, this track, for his team. But with that clip, I don't think it's going to be likely to be happening, as Carl Jr. makes the last jump happen well. Pack even with the snipe there, and that's an ace to close it out for PacB.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate for them there, right there. We're gonna take one more look at this one coming off into the jump, and Neil just does not make the jump. He ends up hitting his back wheel on the barrier there, unfortunately for him. So yeah, again, we need an ace or bust basically for the rest of the match, and it just does not work out for them. So we're going to be moving on to the second map pick for USAK, and that is going to be Brazil. And I'm hoping maybe we'll finally get that scoreline.
You
Hopefully.
mean the 7-1? Well, I mean, now that you've
Uh-huh.
said it, do you think Team USAK is gonna be the one to get the 7-1, or do you think PacB is gonna do it again?
You know, I want to say yeah, USAK can do it, but I remember the last time we saw this type of identity in I think it was 2023 Trackmania World Tour.
It
Uh
was.
Pack played clutch like crazy on this track. Or at
Mm-hmm.
least this style of track, this style of the identity, right? We've seen it.
Yeah.
We've seen this kind of identity come back time and time again in 2023 and 2021. I think I remember was in one of the World Tour ones when it was TMGL. There was one in 2022. I do remember that as well. I think there was a lot of times we were hoverboarding over the water, and Pack has handled the water glider. Thank you, production. Yes, that was the other one I was trying to remember. But yeah, we've seen plenty of water gliding, shall I say. So as much as we want to say, yeah, I would love USAK to get this 7-1, I'm a little worried for USAK.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it how it is. That water identity does give me flashbacks to every time I had to watch the Split team, and if you remember, Split did get top 8 in the World Championship. Every time I had to see them mess up there, and so it's really the identity has stuck with me. But
Yep.
let's see if if any of that stuck with any of these players. We're heading into round 1. We've already seen a few bumpy starts from a few players, but it is early rounds on this map. But this map is going to be, of course, very, very important. PacB, if they can win this, they close it out 3-0. And this first round is looking fantastic to get a lead going. Carl Jr. up in the lead, and Pack, despite his mistakes, still ahead of Wizzy's teammate Neil there in 4th place. Wizzy is trying to defend a little bit of the points, looking to try and overtake, but Carl Jr. with a lead big enough to where Wizzy basically has to hope for that mistake. Last turn is going to be coming in. Carl Jr. finishing in 1st place, and it's going to be a victory to open this map up for PacB, putting them in the lead on what could be their winning map for this round, match.
Yeah, it was a shaky start, and again, this track is very difficult. Not only are you dealing with just plastic, but you're also dealing with wet plastic, especially right here at this moment. Now, these players' wheels are very wet, and they're doing it through the loop, so you're trying to keep your wheels as straight as possible. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of your speed. We saw this match yesterday where Halcyon was also having that problem with the loop. Unfortunately, just could not keep their wheels straight on the loop and lost so much speed. And unfortunately, there we saw Carl Jr. making a mistake and bouncing off the track. So he's going to be falling a little bit farther back. Wizzy now going to be fighting Pack up in the front. Neil to follow into that P3 position. Really want to try to get as much exit speed as you can in this dirt here. Going to be very important to get into a nose slide.
Oh!
I said nose slide, not nose into the wall, Pack. And unfortunately for Pack, he's going to be out of this one. So this could be the momentum swing that USAK is looking for. But again, it's one of those moments where, I spoke to G-Geek about this yesterday, Toval, and it's one of the things that always worries me. It's where it's like, sure, you won this round, but did you win it on pace alone, or did you win due to the mistake that happened to the other team? Speaking of mistake, let's check this one out.
Yeah, so Carl here, you can see him. He's already a bit funky on his exit, and then his jump is unfortunate. He lands slightly tilted to the left, and that's gonna basically send him completely off the line, and that's that's where that round went wrong. Or, you could say that's where that round went completely perfectly for Team USAK, as they secure a very important three-pointer for them, putting them up in the lead, and they really, really need that lead. Let's see if they can try and convert it into something good, or if PacB is going to strike back immediately with some great points of their own this round. Where is Wizzy going? He is absolutely looking to see what he saw off there in the distance, but it definitely was not a new PB. Pace as PacB is going to be up in the lead 1-2. Neil is too far behind to do anything about it, so he's going to be hoping for a mistake from either player, or more optimally both, and we're heading into the water section here. Pack and Carl still up in the lead very, very much comfortably. They can save a little bit. Maybe they're just racing each other now to see who can actually beat the other, and it's going to be Pack with the first place. Carl very, very close behind, 104.1. It's going to be an ace for PacB.
Yeah, a little bit of an unfortunate moment with Wizzy, and we're going to be checking out the replay as well, as we saw the mistake coming in here. Wizzy just a little bit and going wide here. Tries to line himself up nicely, and then gets the it's big, skimming water, and just flies with a zoop out of there. Fortunately, and it's just one of those things where you do try to keep yourself flat, because although many people notoriously will look for zoops anywhere they can on these tracks, this is probably one of those tracks where zooping isn't going to help too much. So unfortunately for Wizzy, just went flying. It's part of that the moment of the angle of your wheel. If you're not perfectly on that zero, you can angle yourself and go flying away. And speaking of angling, everyone taking these corners as tight as possible, getting really close to potentially flipping their car in the water. Wizzy and Neil end up clipping themselves in the corner. I don't even know if Carl Jr. also clipped, because he's looking pretty slow as well. So Pack is going to be by himself up in front. And Wizzy and Neil is just still trying anything they can to stop this ace from happening as we go into the identity. Again, everyone really pushing these lines, getting closer and closer to the apex of every turn, unless Wizzy can get on the inside and get on the gas first. No, he's not going to be able to. And it's just going to be PacB getting another ace as we look at this moment where everyone kind of just had a moment together on that corner.
Yeah, back-to-back aces. PacB on match point. They only need one more victory, close out this match against Team USAK 3-0. I think they're kind of proving why they are, well, I mean, PacB and Carl Jr., I don't think they have anything to prove when it comes to skill. So yeah, they're very much looking like they're going to be looking to close this out. But, Team USAK on 4 points, that's one of those magic numbers. 2 aces, you win, and PacB has done it. I don't see why Team USAK can't do it, but definitely not this round. Mistake from Neil is going to cost him any chance at trying to catch up to the Pack. Speaking of Pack is up in the lead, 0.3 ahead of Wizzy. Carl Jr. just behind Wizzy there, and looking to potentially overtake, close it out with an ace. But as it stands right now, PacB is going to close it out this round. Wizzy has to try and take all of the time that he can, as long as Pack... Oh, never mind. Carl overtakes. It's an ace to close it out. That's 3 aces in a row. And, well, that's all she wrote for Team USAK.
Yeah, that was one heck of a snipe right there at the end. Let's check it out one more time before we close this one out, because that was really nice from Carl Jr. I mean, he didn't need it, right? He could have stayed in P3, but just why not? Why not? Just rub some salt into the wound as they do there. And Carl Jr. doing such a good job being able to handle any sort of obstacle in front of him. And, just close it out with an ace. It looks better on the scoreboard. It looks better on the leaderboard as well when you could just walk away with a 3-0, 11-4 in that last one in Brazil. Again, did not get the score I was looking for. This map is just a curse. It will never let me have it, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, I did have a little bit of hope. I was hoping USAK would be able to do some sort of damage against PacB, but unfortunately, Tobble, it's as we expected. It was in the script, and PacB walking away 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I think we watched the favorite for Div 2 play, and I think with this opening match today, we're also watching the favorite for Division 1 play. I mean, you know, I think it's no surprise when you see the names on this team, Carl Jr. and Pac, both of them. Absolutely no surprise that they are going to most likely be the favorites for Division 1, but I think we do still have a few fierce opponents coming up for them as this one goes on, where they are going to have a bit of a tougher time. So let's see how they're going to fare against them. And the Team USAK, they're just going to have to take this loss. And from what we've seen so far from them, they definitely have the capacity to beat some other teams now, grab some very, very important points, and see where they can end up in the standings. And, you know, maybe on a rematch, they're going to be able to you know, surprise everyone, get that win. I am very much looking forward to what I can see from either team. And speaking of looking forward, what is that next match?
I mean, we have a lot of matches coming up at this point. I can't even read that little schedule that was written out, but I think it's going to be another match with USAK is going to be playing on up against Foot Esports. So we are going to be staying in Div 1. But folks, plenty of Trackmania to be happening today on Overdrive. A lot of matches. You can type an ! schedule in the chat. Thank you to G-Geek putting that all together so that you don't miss any of these matches. You know exactly what's coming up. But I think with that, we're going to take a small break, and we are going to be doing a quick production swap, so the stream will get cut down again today. But don't panic. We'll be right back. So folks, stick around, get some water, take a bathroom break, get your popcorn, and be ready for the next few matches coming up next, because we'll be back with more Trackmania action after this.